Hello everybody and welcome to another video in the IELTS Learning Tips series. My name's Bernie Wall and I'm an IELTS trainer specialising in Band 7 and 8. And before we get started, today I want to talk about writing and the number of words in your writing. But before we get started on that, I just want to let you know how you can get in touch with me if you want more information to help you with your IELTS. So my website, IELTSlearningtips.com, has some free resources, and we also send out regular emails with information about the exam and about studying for it. You can also join my Facebook group. I post regularly in there, do some live training videos, and also it's a place where you can ask questions and find other people to study with. And that's IELTS, IELTS Band 7 and 8 Success Tips and Strategies. And my name is Bernadette Wall, and you can find me on Facebook and send me a message if you have anything you want to ask me. Okay, so let's jump straight into today's video, which is about task 2. And a question I get asked a lot is about the word count. Should I write over 300 words? Quite recently, I spoke to a student who had done the most recent task 2 and written about 450 words. And it's a big mistake. It's a big mistake because of the timing, because of the accuracy, and because of the fluency and cohesion of your writing. So let me explain a little bit about what that means. And I'm going to share a few pointers with you so I can explain that more carefully. So, should I write more than 300 words for my IELTS task? That's the simple answer, I would say. It doesn't equal a higher band. I think there are a lot of students who feel that the more they write, the higher the band. That's not the case. And if you look at the band descriptors, you can see quite clearly that to get a band 7, it doesn't say anywhere that you have to write a lot of words. The lower limit is 250. Now, whether examiners check that or not, I don't know. When I was an examiner, I didn't regularly check the word count, but if it looked very short, then I probably would check it. But if it looked right, and remember, examiners do a lot of writing of scripts, marking of scripts, so you do get a sense from the size of the writing and how it's spaced out. You do get an idea of exactly how long it should be. So visually, an examiner can assess whether it's short or not. So if it's very short, they might count them. There isn't really a penalty for writing too much, but writing too much brings with it its own penalties. It means, firstly, the chances of making more mistakes is much higher. So that's one penalty that you might incur. It means you have less time. It means you're probably not thinking enough about it, analysing the question well enough, brainstorming some ideas and organising these ideas, coming up with, reasons, etc. It cuts down that time. It also means you probably won't have time to check at the end, so you might send a lot of very simple errors to the examiner. And it means that while you're writing, then you're not focusing enough on your sentence construction, your linking words, your vocabulary, so that you're not repeating the same words or repeating the same sentence types. So there are a whole lot of things that you should be doing in the writing that you simply won't be able to do if you want to write more than 300 words. This is another danger. Often there is a wandering away from the topic, and that can be a big problem, and it can affect both your task response and your cohesion if you wander off. And it might mean a headache for the examiner. You know, examiners have a limited amount of time to check your writing. So if you've written 350 or 400 words, if you can even manage that in the time, frankly, then they're going to have to read it very, very fast. So they may not give it as much attention as they might if you write fewer than 300 words. This should be the optimum. 250 to 280, 290 maybe if you write well. Your job in the writing is to answer the question well. It's also to persuade the examiner of your ideas and your points of view. And you do that by creating good evidence and examples which are well expressed. You need to be clear, concise, coherent. The examiner needs to be satisfied that your essay can flow from the first word to the last word without too many issues. And this can easily be done in less than 300 words. If it couldn't, then they wouldn't ask you to write 250 plus. So it can be done in less than 300. Remember, as I mentioned before, they don't have a lot of time. They need to be able to skim through quickly and get a sense of your idea, and then before they go into more detail. So if I get a piece of writing from a student, the first thing I'll do is skim through it and see if I can get to the end without stumbling. Every time you stumble, it means there's a problem. So a good way of checking your writing when you're practicing is to read it out loud. And every time you stumble or stop or you can't read it clearly and quickly, it means there's a problem. And then you can go back and see what the problem is. So a well-constructed task will offer the reader to read it through quickly and get a sense of what you're trying to say. Examiners know what they are looking for. They know when there's a problem. They'll pick it up straight away. I was an examiner, I'm also a teacher, and I can see straight away when there's a problem. Whatever that problem is, I then need to identify what it is. Is it an article? Is it a tense related? Is it spelling? Is it word order? Examiners are teachers, so they also know all of these things, plus they know the descriptors, so they know what they're looking for. So if you want to get band 7 or band 8, the examiner knows what they are looking for in order to award that band. So if you don't provide it, you're not going to get it. If you ramble, they won't find what they're looking for to give you those high bands. So keeping to this word limit will also focus and force you to make sure you write good sentences, good paragraphs. So it's actually really good discipline for you to express your ideas cohesively and succinctly and clearly. Okay, so this is where you have to focus while you're writing. On avoiding errors. You should know the errors that you make, things that you get pointed out by your teachers if you're working with a teacher, and immediately you know, oh, I did that again. You need to know these. These are all the things that have to be right to get a good score. Good grammar, good vocabulary, a variety of good sentence structures, very few errors. So it's as many error-free sentences as possible. You have to include complex sentences. You have to use good linking words or linking devices to give cohesion. And your point of view must be clear and must be followed through all the way from the introduction to the conclusion, and this needs time and attention. So if you're writing over 300 words, you will not be able to give it that time and attention. Okay, it's about quality, not quantity. And that could be compromised if you're trying to write over 300 words. I could probably write over 300 words in 40 minutes, but then I have an advantage in that I'm a native speaker. I'm also an IELTS teacher. I have been an IELTS examiner, so I know exactly what to do. But even so, I try when I do my models to keep them below 300. And that's not always easy, to be honest. You have to be actively in control of how you're putting your ideas down in English. And that takes a little bit of time and concentration during the writing exam. You need to be able to do a good plan that will give you a good outline for your task. And then this in turn will help you manage the language. Then you need some time to check, to stop silly mistakes going to the examiner. So all of these things are more important than writing lots and lots and lots of words. And finally, I honestly don't think if you do all of the other things well, that you will have time to write over 300 words. Okay, so I hope that was a little bit helpful. And remember, it's quality, not quantity. And if you focus on the things that will give you quality, then you really won't have time for quantity over and above 280, 290 words. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.